Oh.
That was close.
Yeah, that was. Thank you. Oh, that felt so good.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Try to pull that a little bit
I
more.
had my foot way too extended.
Just a tiny bit.
I gotta stop there.
Ah.
That'll warm you up.
That will. I was able to use long guard finally.
What's that?
I was able to use long
Nice.
a couple of times there. But then he countered me.
Okay, one more pass.
Pass.
Oh, nice.
Nice, perfect. Oh.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the DEMAS Pandemic Livestream class. Today, little sword and shield. Using the center grip shield. These bolts were made by Hacking Civilization, Shannon Moore. He created these two shields as an experiment to make the shield in as historic a way as possible. So this is all planed plank wood with hide and hide glue. The bosses are Saxon style bosses, and you can see the shape of the boss. These are useful not only for, give me a descending cut, capturing for just that moment the sword. We get in close, using that to open up. Do that again. Hooking, and then because it hooks on that little tab, using that to open up for your own counter effect. This shield here has different colors on it. It's been broken into 4 different areas, and this was for an experiment we were doing. This side here has 2 layers of goat hide. This side has 1 layer of goat hide. This quadrant here has 2 layers of hide glue. This quadrant has 1 layer of hide glue. So we can look at how did the thickness and the extra layers affect the usability and the durability of the shield. You can see that full testing process on the YouTube channel, and I will post a link in this one as well. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk about the center grip shield, the way you use it, what you do and should not do with the shield, and how to combine that with your sword so that you're offensive and defensive. We have another video on this channel about gripping the sword. And when we are swinging our swords around today, you're going to see us using this grip that I talked about. We're not holding it like a hammer. We're holding it, for whatever the best description I can give it, we're holding it like a sword, not like a hammer. So you can see that full video on this channel, and I'll put a link in the description to that video as well. We did a quick introduction to the shield a while ago, and I wanted to do a full video of this. I've seen the center grip shield used in a lot of ways. And one of the biggest dangers that I've seen people put themselves in when using a shield, any kind of shield, is that they block their vision. And you have to be very careful about that, because if I'm fighting you, my opponent, and I've done this, I can no longer see you. Therefore, I don't know if you shifted the level or the direction of your. Everything that we do with our shield, we need to maintain vision. And just like in sword work that we've covered in other videos, geometry is a super important part of this. If my opponent is swinging at my head, nice and slow, I'm not going to move, and it's coming in like this, my natural tendency is to put something in the way, but now that I've covered my whole face, I can't see him, and so if he initiates that cut, and he sees me blocking my face, he's going to go somewhere else, and I'm not going to see him change. So go ahead and do that again. That's all I need. I can still see him. Do that again. And even if he, go ahead and push through. Don, let's go hard, push through. Look how that just lines off, or changes, slides on my shield. If he comes to the other side of my body, I've seen this a lot. Well, now my shield is in the way of my sword. This we said? Go ahead and do that again. I'm not going to move. So that's the blow coming in there. Go ahead and do it again. That's all I need. My shield, go ahead and relax, has only moved that far. Go ahead and stand like this for me, please. So I'm not going to move. You're going to hit me. You need to scoot that way just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Do that again. I'm not going to move. Great. I've got my shield here. He does that, and I do that. I don't need to move any further. Go ahead and hit me in the shoulder. Harder. Okay. Harder. I don't need anything else. Do that again slow. And then as you do it, slide up along my rib. Sure. Because I'm looking just over my shield at my opponent, if he slides up, it's still going over my head. Even though it looks like I've put myself in a lot of danger and I've not closed my line off, I have protected myself through geometry of the shield and what we've talked about here in the school, the ice cream cone of defense. So you don't need to completely block yourself off. And if you do that, you run a greater risk of blocking your vision or interrupting your own next movement. So it's important that you only move as much as you need to. And with the diameter of these shields, to protect my right side, if I keep an angle with my shield, I only need to go to just the right side of my sternum. Let's switch sides. I want you to see right here. I want you to see how far out his sword is from me. Can you turn it flat? There we go. That's how far his sword is away from me. And that's how much of my body I'm blocking with my shield. I keep it low so I don't lose my vision of him, and I don't cross my body with my shield because then it gets in the way of my sword. So maintain control of your reaction and your movement so that you don't block yourself out. With all that being said, there are certain positions that we take with our shield. Guard, if you will. Starting here with an against your shoulder and angled out about 45 degrees. We're going to call this the ready position. From the ready position, all you're going to do is straighten your arm out, and now we have low position. Back to ready position. Now you're just going to roll your arm up. Now we have high position. Go back to ready position. So just looking over your shield at your opponent, and then extend out. Now that long one. Ready position, low position, ready position, high position, ready position, long position. There are going to be times that you cross your body, but mostly that's only because you're currently moving his weapon somewhere so that you can attack on the other side. A big thing to remember with this shield, the center grip shield or any shield, it is a shield, it is not a door. Can you stand with me?
Yes, sir.
If we create a shield wall, and we're in here, now we're using it like a door because there's a lot of us. And we're leaning into it, and we've got all those people leaning into us. But if I'm fighting one-on-one, and I use it like a door, I've restricted what I can do with it, and actually put myself in more danger than if I hold it at an angle and use it as a shield. So, you will find that when you're holding it like this and you're using it this way, your arm is going to get tired. It is a whole different use of your deltoid and your shoulder and your bicep than what we normally do. So when you're holding it up here, can you just hold that for just a second? When you're holding your shield here, keep your elbow tucked into your side and your active shoulder so it hangs from the bones and the structure, not from your muscles. If you kind of lift it up with your shoulder, you can see how high your shoulder is. You're going to burn yourself out in no time at all. So you want to relax your shoulder and let the weight hang from your shoulder. It's then that I can push forward, or everything else low or high is just through my elbow. If I want to go down, I just straighten my elbow. If I want to go up, I push my elbow forward. But my arm isn't really moving. It's still hanging from the structure. This is what's going to allow us to control our shield without burning ourselves out. Thank you. So let's go through those one more time. We have ready position, low position, ready position, high position, ready position, long position. Now you'll see when I went to long position, I didn't leave it here. I actually angled it. We're going to start off with long position, because it is, long position is a guard that, with our shield that we're going to use to protect ourselves from an attack to our left side, but also an attack to our right side. So if I'm facing my opponent, if you'll stand there for me, sir, and my opponent throws an attack at my right shoulder, that's the blow coming in. Go ahead and do that again. You're a little bit out of distance.
Yep.
Do it again. There, bend your arm, remember?
Thank you.
There we go.
Yep.
So that's the blow coming in. Do it again. Perfect. Do it again. If I do this, he can then bounce off that and attack. So when I go up, he then can easily go down low, open me up with his shield. He's got a ton of options. Go do that again. Hit me in the shoulder, please. Great. Do it again. Just go into long guard, long position. Gives me that safety. Shoulder okay? Do it again. If I jam out, I can then jam the whole thing in and use my body to step forward and really lock his arms up. We are not going to be going into a lot of that, just because if we do that and we do it right, it's going to really put one or both of us in danger. Even if we put on masks, it's not going to protect our neck or our shoulders. And I don't want to gear up for this, because if I do that, you're going to lose a lot of the vision of what I'm doing. And also, when you're training, if you gear up heavily when you're training, you learn to trust your gear, not your action. You want to go very slowly and very controlled so that you are able to practice your action and learn to trust the technique and not rely on your equipment to keep you safe. Because that equipment is going to give you lies. It's going to give you a false sense of safety. We need to be safe. But our safety goes through, or our safety is developed through our choices, not through the equipment we're wearing. So when we start in here, and we're both in ready position, he attacks that side. I'm not going to move. That's the blow coming in. Do it again. Now, look at this. He's still on top. Go ahead and continue through. He goes out, and I've got a nice opening. And if he goes to use his shield to deflect my shield, I've got a nice thrust to his face. Brings up another thing I see people do a lot, especially when they start using their shield like a door. We're in here and we're fighting, and then go real slow, stab my shield. This is coming in, and it's going to yield, and I just created a ramp right up to my face. I cannot tell you how many people I've seen stabbed or almost stabbed in the face because of the way they use their shield like a sword. I've been in battle reenactments over in Europe where we're swinging still swords at each other, and sometimes people have shields, but there's no face masks on. So they're open face and helmets. And I've seen people do this with shields and guide their opponent's point right up into their face. So from personal experience seeing it, and I've even done it a couple times to be completely honest, you don't want to use it like a door or it's going to cost you, and you will not want to pay that price. So if a thrust is, if you hold it like a door, go ahead, go slow. It's going to yield. Be aware of that. Go and do that again. If I hold it here, look how I guide it off to the side. The switch side. So I'm gonna hold it like a door again, comes in, and just guides it right up into my face. But if I hold it in a ready position and be thrust, look how that just sends it to the side. And I've got lots of targets that I can do. I can come down and take the arm that way. This also works with the axe. Did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Because the axe is not going to have the same equal or you want the axe or the sword?
I'll take the axe. You can demonstrate the angles a little bit better.
So he throws that cut at me.
What?
Give me a one.
Okay.
This is coming in. If I do this, that axe head is going to bite through it. But if he does that and I step, now continue down, that's where his axe is going. Go and do that again, just hold it back. It doesn't take a lot. If he swings at my leg, I move my leg out of the way just by moving it not back. Get back just a little bit. I'm not stepping back with my leg. Go ahead, I'm not going to move, go ahead, hit me. That's the blow. For anybody who's done axe and shield fighting, you're going to recognize that shot to the knee. There's a technical term for getting hit in the knee with an axe. Sucks a lot. If you get hit in the knee with an axe, you do not forget that strike. So go ahead and do that again. I'm not going to move. That's what's coming in. If I move back, I've taken myself out of the way, but I've left him the momentum he needs to do another blow. I don't like that. So do it again. I step out, and because I stepped out, he still has all that ability to move his axe. However, once I add my shield to it, do it again. He's still going and continuing that action. But if I step out, now I've got all the advantage here. Go and do it a little bit faster.
Okay.
You can see how I can get in there. Do it a little bit faster.
Yes, sir.
This is mine. I'm going to win that because I did not take myself out of the distance. With an axe, if he's attacking from his left to my right side, I do this, he's going to, because of the way his wrist is built, he's going to keep pulling down, open me up, and that's where I'm going to take that extra cut. Do that again. I step out and use that with my false edge to attack his arm. I can also do it again. Now I've blocked him, and I'm using both to drive in. So do that again. Switch sides with me, please. He attacks in. Look at that beautiful angle there. Even if he goes to block with his shield, I can push through, open him up, and still stab. And his axe is actually a guide for me. He makes it easier for me to get in there to hit him.
I also make it easier for him to push my shield out of the way, because if we do that one more time, watch where he puts my axe.
So I'm actually using his own axe to crumple his body and open his shield. Right? Because, now, it's a sword and shield. I have to do a lot of double weapon defense. That's it because he has an axe and I have a sword. He's got more mass and it's all at the end of his weapon. Last week, we did tomahawk and axe, or tomahawk and knife. And one of the statements I made then, and I will make it again, a dull axe is still an axe. It doesn't need to be sharp to do the job. You can put somebody down permanently with a hammer. And this is an edged hammer. So there's a lot of mass and momentum coming in on this weapon. Go ahead and do it again, slow. Not a chance that I'm going to stop that. It's just going to vary through. I can, do it again. Damn it, but look how that folds my shield around. But if I combine the two, my sword, go ahead and pull your axe, actually locks his axe in place, giving me the ability to just go straight forward. So the double weapon defense in this instance, my sword supports my shield and my shield supports my sword. So they work really well together.
Thank you.
What was that?
Carlos is awesome.
Oh, nice. So now, what I want to do is, he's got that axe, and I'm not going to try to stop all that mass, because it's just too much, too heavy. All right?
Yeah, it's just the axe is slipping in the poor glove.
So I'm not going to try to stop it. Instead, this is where we go back to similarities with the tomahawking knife that we did. He's got that blow coming in at me with a one. And I'm going to do upward and then come right back down. And I'm covering myself because I'm expecting this one, the descending blow from his right side to my left side. But he's smart. He's getting me to try to go up high so he can go low. That's his goal. Do it again. And I don't give him the opportunity to do it. Do it again. Go low. Low.
Okay.
And I can still get him. I can attack this way, but it's not safe because his shield is in the way. And he's on the wrist, and then he'll just go right through my shield anyway. Remember, if you're going to do anything other than slow drill with an axe, gear up. Because you need to learn how to protect yourself and rely on the technique. But with all that mass, you have to gear up or you have to find another training tool. And there's a video that went around on YouTube for a little while in Russia or something like that. Some guy who was supposedly a trainer took a sharp axe, double-handed it, and the guy who had the shield had a scrap shield, not a center grip shield, and planted it into the shield and into the guy's arm. I know it shouldn't need to be said, but never ever work with a sharp weapon. And just as importantly, never ever work with a dull partner. Right? I mean,
very important.
Because if they don't care about your safety, you don't want to train with them. And for John and I, it may look like we're taking some risks, but we've fought and trained together enough that I know I can trust him, and he knows he can trust me. But I wouldn't do this kind of thing with somebody I didn't trust or didn't know without equipment, because I don't know who they are, and I don't know that they have the control to not hurt me. So, I want to do a quick review. I'm going to take this side, if you'll stand there for me. So ready position, with the shield in ready position. Shield low position, ready position, high position, ready position, long position, ready position, switch heat. We're in ready position, low position, ready position, high position, ready position, long position. Now you'll notice that when I'm in long position, you can see my eye on this side. That's how I'm not losing vision of my opponent. If he hits it hard and it yields, I'm going to take it over just so I can roll it back into place with the high position. And one of the ways I can get that is, switch sides with me. He swings at my right shoulder, and I do this, but he steps forward. No, I want you to just keep pushing that. Okay. Because I want my shield to yield. You roll over my head, And what that is the equivalent of that with my sword. So I throw a thrust at my opponent, he covers that, I follow it around and can hit him on the other side of his shield. He pushes my shield out of the way. That puts me right back into high position with my sword in place. And if he covers that, I go to long position. It is still a weapon in its own, so you can use the shield as a tool. With that, I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to the center grip shield and sword. It is with great thanks to Hacking Civilization, Shannon Moore, for the building of these two shields. I'm going to be doing an interview with Shannon on his process for building the shield, as well as what he learned while doing it. Things that did work, things that didn't work. Most of the shields that we see today on the market are made out of plywood. And so they're a uniform thickness all the way through. Historically, they weren't like that. This whole shield, and can you hold up that shield? You can see how big both of these shields are. And this shield that John has is even bigger than the one I bought. But this one is still only about 5.5 pounds, maybe 6 pounds.
No.
So it's not terribly heavy. And if you have a piece of plywood that is 1/2 inch, or even some I've seen are 3/4 inch, they're going to kill you. Your arm is just going to die, and then you're not going to be in a position to be able to move it. So watch our channel for that. And with that, I want to thank you very much for joining us. Go ahead and put your shield behind your back. Thank you everyone for being here with us, for watching us. In your training, stay safe, stay smart, and we'll see you on the other side of this. Take care of it, everyone. Until we get back together in person, all the best. Carlos, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
We are very happy to have done this one for you.
Yeah. Zeke, the good advice, I hope, is don't get hit or something like that. Always seems like good advice to me.
I like it.
Thank you, guys.